Have you ever wondered why so many people are jealous of you, even for no apparent reason? Why, as a child, have you attracted looks of judgment, rejection, and even persecution, even when you haven't done anything? The answer is far beyond what the eyes can see, and today you will discover the spiritual truth behind it all. If this message has already touched something inside you, click like now and subscribe to the channel, because together we are awakening the true power of the chosen ones. And comment below, "I am light, that's why I bother the darkness." This will be your spiritual activation seal. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the atmosphere changed just by your presence, as if some people, without really knowing you, already look at you crookedly with judgment in their eyes? Ever since you were little, you realize that certain people get angry at you for no apparent reason, and it always makes you wonder, what did I do wrong? When in fact, the right question is, what is it about me that others still can't handle? The chosen ones carry a different energy, a frequency that affects environments. Your mere presence unintentionally exposes what others are trying to hide. When you enter, it's not just you who arrives, your light arrives with you. And this light, my brother, bothers those who are in darkness. Therefore, you are often rejected before you even open your mouth, because your essence has already spoken. This disguised implication, this subtle distancing, is not personal, it is spiritual. Their spirit recognizes what you carry even before their mind understands it, and what they feel is confrontation, because your light reveals what is out of alignment within them. So if you feel like you're always bothering someone without even trying, don't blame yourself. You're just carrying a presence that many still cannot bear. The truth is that you don't have to do anything to make it uncomfortable. Its existence in itself is already a spiritual warning. The chosen ones are beings who carry the divine call in their gaze, posture, and energy. And when this energy comes into contact with people who are still sunk in darkness, whether due to envy, ego, pride, or resentment, discomfort arises automatically. This discomfort is not rational. Often, not even those who persecute you can explain why they feel this anger or discomfort. But this happens because your spirit has already been touched by something greater, and this emits a vibration that unmasks that which is in the shadows. You are not facing people. You are facing their wounds that cannot bear your light. You are like a spiritual mirror. People look at you and see what they lack, and instead of seeking evolution, many prefer to attack those who carry the light. But understand, this discomfort is proof that you are exactly where you should be. You were set apart to bother the dark system, not to fit into it. Envy is not born from what you have. It is born from who you are. Many times you haven't even achieved everything you dream of yet. And even then, people already show discomfort, disdain, and try to erase you. Why? Because you carry something that they cannot imitate: essence, connection, soul. The chosen ones have a spiritual identity that cannot be copied, cannot be bought, cannot be learned anywhere. It's something that comes from above. And when this appears, even in the midst of the simplicity of your life, it awakens intense reactions. Some people silently admire you, others hate you for no reason, but they all feel it, because your presence is striking, even when you try to hide. This constant discomfort is spiritual. It is confirmation that you are carrying something sacred, and envy is nothing more than a reaction to your light. If you have been the constant target of dirty looks, gossip, exclusion, understand it is because you have an invisible crown that many desire, but few have the structure to carry. From an early age, you realize that some people just can't get comfortable around you. This made you doubt yourself, think you were being arrogant, that you should lower your energy so as not to scare others. But the truth is, you were made to be light, not to hide in other people's shadows. Your presence carries spiritual weight. Your posture, your look, even your silence speaks. And this intimidates those who have not yet awakened. It intimidates because it reveals a firmness that many are trying to build. It intimidates because it conveys truth in a world full of masks. It intimidates because, even without meaning to, you force others to confront their own weaknesses. You don't need to apologize for that. Don't ask for forgiveness for being intense, deep, true. The chosen ones did not come to please. They came to transform. And this transformation begins with the impact you generate even without opening your mouth. Intimidation, in this case, is just the world's reaction to the strength you carry. You know that look that follows you, what examines you, that seems to want to break you inside? Ever since you were little, you feel this weight. Even without understanding why, your heart was already warning you, there's something wrong here. And it was as if, in silence, you needed to protect yourself, even when everything seemed normal. That look wasn't just judgment, it was spiritual. It was the unconscious attempt to turn off your light, to destabilize your strength, to disconnect you from your divine origin. And many times it worked. You doubted yourself, you hid, you remained silent. But now it's time to understand. You were never the problem. The problem has always been what others saw in you and didn't know how to deal with. Their gaze was heavy because his presence was a reflection of what they could not face in themselves. And this prepared you, strengthened you, polished you. Because while many looked at you with envy, God looked at you with purpose. And it was that divine gaze that always sustained you, even on the days when you thought you were alone. Ever since you were little, you felt like something wasn't right inside your own home. Even though you were surrounded by people who were supposed to protect and love you, you were treated like someone different, and not in a good way. Maybe you've heard cruel phrases, cold looks, or been left aside at important moments. All of this left deep marks, which you carried without understanding. But the explanation is not emotional, it is spiritual. The chosen ones are often born into homes where they are rejected precisely because they carry a special mission. The spiritual energy that you carry since you were a child confronts even those who gave you life. Because often family members are the first to realize, unconsciously, that there is something great about you. And this can generate discomfort, competition, and even hatred. Family rejection is, in many cases, the first test of the chosen one. It's painful to admit that the people closest to you may have been the ones who hurt you the most, but this pain is not in vain. It prepared you to develop emotional resilience, spiritual maturity, and above all, faith. The rejection you experienced was part of a bigger plan, to strengthen you for the mission you came to fulfill. Those who hurt you may never understand why they caused you pain, but you will. It was about their purpose, not you. Today, when you look back, perhaps you begin to see that abandonment, coldness, and even humiliation served as a shield, because God was molding you to not depend on human validation. He wanted you to recognize that your value would not come from your earthly family, but from heaven. And this liberation is the first step to living fully as a true chosen one. Even when silent, you speak. His presence is uncomfortable because he conveys a truth that not everyone wants to face. You don't need to point out mistakes, make speeches, or impose yourself. Just by being who you are, you reveal what many people try to hide. That's why you often notice that people get nervous around you, act differently, or even try to sabotage you. It's not personal, it's the truth you carry that bothers the masks they wear. The chosen one is like a torch in the middle of the darkness. It illuminates everything around, and what is hidden in the shadows fears being revealed. When you enter an environment, your attitudes, your values, and even your look make people feel exposed, because you don't play the same game, you don't pretend, you don't sell out, you don't follow the crowd, and that, for many, is unbearable. The modern world is full of appearances. People live on filters, lies disguised as truth, and empty relationships. When someone like you appears, integrity, sincere, with a pulsating spirituality, this system collapses. That's why you are persecuted. Because you are a threat to the emotional and spiritual status quo of many people. You unintentionally force others to face themselves, and that hurts more than any words. But don't be silent. Never turn off your light to please the darkness. If your truth bothers you, it's because she's fulfilling her role. You came to awaken consciences, even if it is with your simple presence. The rejection you face for being truthful is actually the spiritual recognition that you are fulfilling your mission, even in silence. Perhaps one of the most difficult pains to understand is being rejected precisely where you were looking for acceptance. In faith, many chosen ones report persecution, envy, and exclusion within churches, temples, or spiritual communities. This can generate confusion and even distance from the faith because you ask yourself, if they reject me so far, where is my place? But this is exactly where one of the most profound proofs of his calling lies. The light you carry is not ordinary. It is authentic, direct, alive. And in many religious environments, unfortunately, there is more tradition than transformation. Your presence is uncomfortable because your connection with God does not depend on positions, titles, or human recognition. You shine with or without a stage, with or without a microphone. And this generates jealousy, fear, and even attempts to erase your shine. Because you don't fit into the system, you expose the system. Being persecuted within the church is one of the most spiritually symbolic pains that a chosen one can experience. It is the equivalent of what Jesus experienced with the Pharisees, rejected by those who should recognize the sacred. But this pain doesn't take you away from your mission, it confirms you in it. Because you didn't come to follow a religion, you came to live a real, deep faith that transforms and liberates. Persecution within these spaces shows that you have already transcended the superficial. Therefore, if you have ever felt uncomfortable even within a house of faith, don't blame yourself. The problem was never his spiritual intensity. It was the fear of those who live only in appearance. Continue seeking the divine presence in a true way. You don't need an audience to be heard by God. And it is precisely for this silent and powerful truth that you are persecuted, because heaven has already recognized you, and that is all that matters. Have you ever noticed that often, without saying anything, you transform the environment? People turn to you, some with admiration, others with resistance. This happens because your spirituality does not depend on words. It emanates. The chosen ones carry a frequency so high that it affects everything around them. This energy is perceived by sensitive hearts and feared by sleeping souls. The spirituality of the chosen ones is silent but powerful. She does not need elaborate rituals or religious titles. It manifests itself in your gaze, your posture, your empathy, the way you treat people no one sees. That is why your presence is felt as light in places where darkness reigns. And unfortunately, where there is light, there will always be forces trying to put it out. This spirituality that you radiate is a threat to those who live by appearance. People who hide behind masks, who live on vanity and recognition, feel confronted by their authenticity. That's why you bother. Hence the persecution. But understand, true spirituality always attracts resistance, because it liberates. Keep being light. Even when they try to silence you, your presence is already speaking for you. The world needs people who vibrate with real spirituality more than empty speeches. And the simple fact that you are who you are, true, sensitive, and awakened, is in itself a spiritual revolution. It hurts when the stab comes from someone you fed, when ingratitude comes from those you clothed, defended, advised, and even protected. The chosen ones, because they are naturally generous, tend to attract people who approach them seeking light, but not all of them are ready to deal with the intensity of that light. And when they can't match you, they try to knock you down. Envy of those you help the most is one of the most bitter tests a chosen one faces, because it doesn't come from declared enemies. It comes from people you trusted, who you prayed with, who you truly loved, people who knew your heart and still chose to hurt you. But this also has a purpose, to teach discernment. The mission of the chosen one is not to save everyone, but rather to learn to recognize who is ready to grow together and who just wants to suck your energy. Not everyone you helped was grateful, and not everyone should stay by your side. The pain of betrayal reveals that your mission is leveling up. The greater your purpose, the more selective your energy needs to be. Don't blame yourself for helping someone who then turned their back on you. This is part of your learning, and above all, it reveals how strong your light is, so strong that those who couldn't deal with it preferred to attack you, but they cannot put out what God has kindled. Have you ever thought that that rejection that hurt you so much might have actually been a protection? Being excluded, ignored, or pushed away hurts, yes, but in many situations the universe is actually sparing you. The chosen one is separated not by punishment, but by shielding. God takes you out of environments where your light would be sucked away, where your mission would be diverted. The rejection you feel is not an end, but a filter. It's as if the universe said, "Not here. You're too big for that." And as much as your heart may have broken at not being accepted, the spiritual truth is that you are being directed towards something much greater. While the world pushes you out, heaven calls you in to your purpose. Many times you didn't understand why friendships ended, doors closed, or relationships went wrong. But today you begin to realize that these breaks were deliverances. You have been set apart to be prepared. God doesn't take anything away without first planning something better. And in your case, the best requires solitude, silence, and focus. So, the next time someone rejects you, silently thank them. Because the rejection of men can actually be divine protection that prepares you for an elevation that few are ready to experience. You are chosen, and that, in itself, is reason to be shielded. The constant persecution, the sideways glances, the unfair criticism, all of this seems unfair, but it is a spiritual mark of the chosen ones. Persecution is not an obstacle. It is recognition. The more you bother, the more aligned you are with your mission. The world will never applaud the one who came to awaken consciences. Being persecuted is part of spiritual training. Jesus went. The prophets were, the great awakenings of all ages were also, and you who carry a mission of light would be no exception. This does not mean that you should accept it silently, but rather understand that the resistance you face is proportional to the impact your mission will have on the world. When you understand that persecution is a sign that you are on the right path, something changes inside you. You start to see rejection as confirmation. Criticism became fuel. Falls become steps. And suddenly, that pain that used to break you starts to shape you. His calling includes pain, but it also includes power. Persecution doesn't nullify your mission. It announces your arrival. Stay strong. Hell only rages when heaven is using you. Many people spend their lives trying to be accepted. They shape themselves, cancel each other out, lose themselves. But the chosen one awakens when he understands that rejection was what pushed him inside himself. The pain of not fitting in was what opened the portal to connecting with the divine, because your place was never among those who conform. Rejection forced you to take the plunge, finding strength where there was only loneliness, looking for answers where there was only silence. And that's when you discovered what others are still searching for. True spiritual connection is born from pain. You were rejected by the world to be accepted by God. The portal to your power opened when you stopped wanting to please everyone and started looking for who you really are. When did you stop asking, "Why me?" and started saying, "What are you teaching me for?" This is the moment when the chosen one begins to awaken to the greatness he carries. So stop reducing yourself to fit where your soul has already overflowed. Rejection didn't weaken you. It activated you, and now that you know who you are, nothing and no one can stop you. Why did you always feel alone, even when surrounded by people? Why, at many moments in your life, did you feel that no one understood you, that you were a stranger in your own family, among friends, or even within the church? The answer lies not in rejection, but in separation. The loneliness of the chosen one is not punishment, it is preparation. The universe did not isolate you to hurt you, but to reveal you. It took away the noise so you could hear what really matters, your own soul. Many people associate loneliness with abandonment, but the chosen ones know that it is in the absence of noise that the call is heard. While everyone is distracted by the chaos of the world, you have been led into silence. God removed you from many places so that you could find yourself again, because your mission demands that you know who you are. No interference, no distractions, no masks. His light needed to mature away from the spotlight, in healing environments, not performance. It is in solitude that the greatest spiritual awakenings happen. It was in the desert that Moses saw the burning bush. It was in prison that Jose interpreted the dreams that would change his story. It was alone in Gethsemane that Jesus faced his deepest pain. And it is in that same silence, where no one applauds you, where no one understands you, where tears flow silently, that you are shaped by God. There, in the unseen, your strength is being refined. You are not lonely. You are consecrated. The solitude of the chosen is sacred because it prepares you to see, hear, and feel beyond what others can. When everyone moved away, it was the universe calling you closer. So embrace this process, honor this silence, because after this immersion with your essence, you will never be the same. Your light will shine so brightly that the same people who rejected you will ask themselves, how did he become all this? Alone. But you will know, you were never alone. Have you ever wondered why you carry so much intensity? Why do you feel what others ignore, see what no one notices, and carry a spiritual restlessness that seems to have no end? This is not a mistake, nor an exaggeration. This is called. And the truth is simple, profound, and powerful. You are the answer the world has been waiting for. While many run away from their mission, you were called to fulfill a purpose. Your story, however painful it may be, is the fertile soil where God will bring about transformation for thousands of lives. The world is thirsty for truth, for light, for consciousness. People are lost, disoriented, trapped in cycles of pain that seem to have no end. And there you are, with a soul that has already crossed deserts, with a heart shaped by rejection, with spiritual eyes open since childhood. None of this was for nothing. You are the channel, the messenger, the mirror, where many will see God for the first time. Your silence heals, His presence awakens, His gaze carries a compassion that words cannot reach. Understand, God does not awaken someone like you by chance. He shaped you through tears, through lonely nights, through deep pain, because He knew that in time you would no longer be just a survivor, but a beacon. Your mission is not to preach with a microphone. It's living truthfully. It's walking around with such an authentic light that even those who don't believe will feel that there is something different about you. And it will change lives. It will heal. It will free you. Now is the time. You can no longer hide, nor minimize your spiritual strength to fit anyone's mold. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs your authenticity, your story told with courage, of your anointed presence. You are the answer. You are healing. You are chosen. And it's high time to act like it, because your light did not come to be stifled. She came to light other hearts, and your mission starts now.